Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to study the chapter Effects of Electric Current Part 2. In our previous video, we studied energy transfer in an electric circuit, what is electric power and heat, heating effect of electric current, what is magnet and magnetic lines of force, magnetic effect of electric current, and right hand thumb rule. Now let's continue our remaining topics. Magnetic field produced by current through a circular loop of a conducting wire. We learned about the magnetic lines of force of a magnetic field produced by a current flowing through a straight conductor. Let's see what happens to the magnetic lines of force when we bend the conductor in such a way that it forms a loop. Consider the circuit. Now we have a loop of conducting wire and large current is made to flow through it. If the current passes through it, magnetic lines of force is produced at each point on the loop. As we go away from the wire, the circles representing the magnetic lines of force will become bigger and bigger. If we look at the center of the loop, the magnetic lines of force become so big that its arc can be shown as a straight line. In the circuit diagram, the magnetic lines of force are shown near the points P and Q only. However, they will be created near each point on the loop, and each point will produce magnetic field at the center of the loop. By making the use of right hand thumb rule, we can check that every point on the loop which contributes the magnetic lines of force. We saw that creating one loop increases the strength of the magnetic field. This means that if there are n number of turns in the loop, the magnetic field increases n times of that produced by a single loop. This is a weaker electromagnet with less number of turns and a stronger electromagnet with more number of turns. Magnetic field due to a current in a solenoid. Let's first understand what a solenoid is. When a copper wire with a resistive coating is wound in a chain of loops like a spring, it is called a solenoid. However, an electric current passes through a solenoid, magnetic lines of force are produced as shown. The properties of the magnetic field of a solenoid are very similar to the magnetic field produced by a bar magnet. The ends of the solenoids act as north pole and south pole. The magnetic lines of force inside the solenoid are parallel to each other. This means that the intensity of the magnetic field within the solenoid is uniform everywhere. That is, the magnetic field is same everywhere inside the solenoid. Let's move on to our next topic. Force acting on current carrying conductor in a magnetic field. Observe this experimental setup. Using a stand, a copper wire is fixed so that it passes through the poles of horseshoe magnet. Whenever current is not flowing, the wire remains straight, that is at position A. When the current flows from top to bottom, the wire bends and comes to position C. Similarly, if the current direction is reversed, that is if it flows from the top to bottom end, the wire bends and comes to position B. This means the direction of force on the wire is perpendicular to both the magnetic field and the direction of the current. Here, the direction of magnetic field is from north pole to south pole. In this experiment, it is noted that whenever current flows through a conductor in the presence of magnetic field, a force is exerted on the conductor. The direction of this force depends on both the direction of the current and the direction of the magnetic field. We can see this in both the diagrams and compare it with X, Y and Z axis. So our next topic is Fleming's left hand rule. In this experiment, which we performed to see the force acting on current carrying conductor in a magnetic field, How will we determine that the wire will bend in which direction? Thus, a simple rule relating to the direction of the wire bending, that is, direction of force acting on conductor, is called Fleming's left hand rule. The Fleming's left hand rule says the left hand thumb, index finger, and the middle finger are to be stretched so as to be perpendicular to each other. If the index finger is in the direction of the magnetic field and the middle finger points the direction of current, then the direction of the thumb is the direction of the force on the conductor. This idea is used to run an electric motor. Let's understand what electric motors are. Electric motor. It is a device that changes electrical energy into mechanical energy using the principle of Fleming's left hand rule. Around us, in our day-to-day life, an electric motor is used in fans, refrigerators, mixers, washing machines, etc. How does this electric motor work? Let's first see construction of electric motor. The electric motor consists of rectangular loop of copper wire having resistive coating. As shown in the figure, it is placed between the north pole and south pole of a magnet in such a way that its branches AB and CD are perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. The two ends of the loop are connected to the two halves X and Y of the split ring. The two halves of the ring have resistive coating on their inner surfaces and are tightly fitted on the axle. The two halves of the split ring X and Y have their outer conducting surfaces in contact with the two stationary carbon brushes E and F respectively. We can see the connections properly in this video. This is how the current flowing from AB and CD is perpendicular to the magnetic lines of force. When the circuit is completed, the current flows in the branch AB of the loop from A to B through the carbon brushes E and F. Since the direction of the magnetic field is from North Pole to South Pole, according to the Fleming's left hand rule, a force is exerted on the branch AB and pushes it down. The current in the CD branch is in opposite direction to that in the AB branch. And therefore, a force is exerted on the branch CD in upward direction. Thus, the loop and the axle start rotating in an anti-clockwise direction. After half rotation, the two halves of the split ring X and Y come in contact with the carbon brushes F and E, respectively, and the current in a loop starts flowing in the direction DCBA. Therefore, a force is exerted on the branch DC in downward direction and on the branch BA in the upward direction, and the loop continues to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. Thus, the current in the loop is reversed after each half rotation, and the loop and the axle continue to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. Commercial motors run on the same principle, but practically changes are made in their construction. Now let's see what is electromagnetic induction. We have seen that if a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field such that the direction of the current flow is perpendicular to the magnetic field, a force is exerted on the conductor and it moves. But if an electric conductor is moving in a magnetic field or the magnetic field around a stationary conductor is changing, what will happen? In order to find out the answer for this question, scientist Michael Faraday did a research and showed that an electric current can be produced in a conductor with the help of a moving magnet. Means with the help of moving magnet, we can generate electricity. Let's understand galvanometer. Galvanometer. It is a sensitive device which works on the same principle as that of an electric motor that we studied earlier. We can make electrical measurements with it. A coil is positioned between the pole pieces of a magnet in such a way that the pointer on the galvanometer dial is connected to it. When a small amount of current, for example 1 milliampere, flows through the coil will rotate. The rotation will be proportional to the amount of current. Voltmeter and ammeter also work on the same principle. In galvanometer, the pointer deflects on both sides of the zero mark depending on the direction of the current. Now let's see what Michael Faraday researched about electromagnetic induction through Faraday's law of induction. If a current is switched on or off in the solenoid coil, a current is induced in the coil. Such an induction is also observed when the current in the solenoid coil is increased or decreased. Current is induced in the coil when it is moved aside from front of the solenoid. From these experiments, we understood that whenever the number of magnetic lines of force passing through the coil changes, current is induced in the coil. This is known as Faraday's law of induction. The current produced in the coil is called the induced current. Fleming's right-hand rule. When will the induced current in the conductor be maximum? It will be maximum when the direction of the motion of the electric conductor is perpendicular to the magnetic field. In order to show the direction of induced current, Fleming's right-hand rule is very useful. Stretch the thumb, the index finger, and the middle finger in such a way that they will be perpendicular to each other. In this position, the thumb indicates the direction of the motion of conductor, the index finger indicates the direction of the magnetic field, and the middle finger shows the direction of the induced current. This is known as Fleming's right-hand rule. Now let us study the two types of currents. Alternating current AC and direct current DC. So far we have learned about a constant current flowing in one direction in a circuit from the battery to the conductor. Such current is called direct current. It is because if we check graphically, the value of the direct current which is set to 1 ampere at 1 second, it is 1 ampere. After 2 seconds, it is 1 ampere. After 3 seconds, it is 1 ampere. That is, it is constant at each instant of time. On the other hand, a current which changes its magnitude, that is value, and direction after equal intervals, that is after a fixed period of time, it is said to be alternating current, that is AC. If we see graphically, the value of AC current which is set to 1 ampere, at 0.5 second it is 0 ampere, at 1 second it is 1 ampere. We can say that alternating current is oscillatory. The direct current can be increased, can be stable, or can be reduced to zero also, but is not oscillatory. Alternating current increases from 0 to maximum, then again reduces to 0 and increases to maximum in other direction and again reduces to 0. The magnitudes, that is values like -1, -2, have been used to show the reverse direction. The oscillation of the alternating current occurs in a sinusoidal, that is sine wave manner with respect to time, and hence it is shown by the symbol. Direct current flows in one direction, but alternating current flows in periodic manner in one cycle, in forward and reverse direction. In India, the power station generating electricity, one cycle changes in 1/50 seconds. That is, in 1 second, the cycle of AC is 50 times. This means the frequency of AC is 50 Hz, means 50 cycles per second. When the electric power is transmitted over a long distance, it is beneficial to have it in AC form as it results in minimum power loss because of noise during transmission. The home supply is of alternating current AC. Our next topic is electric generator. We have seen the experiments based on electromagnetic induction. The current produced in these experiments was of very small magnitude. But the same principle can be performed for the use of mankind to produce large current. The construction of electric generator is almost similar to electric motor, which we studied earlier. Here, mechanical energy is used to rotate the current carrying coil in a magnetic field around an axle, thereby producing electricity. The figure shows a copper wire coil ABCD kept between the two pole pieces of a magnet. The two ends of the coil are connected to the conducting rings R1 and R2 via carbon brushes. Both the rings are fixed to the axle, but there is a resistive coating in between the ring and the axle. The axle is rotated with the help of a machine from outside. Because of this, the coil ABCD starts rotating. The stationary carbon brushes B1 and B2 are connected to the galvanometer, which shows the direction of the current in the circuit. Upon rotating the axle, the branch AB goes up and the branch CD goes down. That is, the coil ABCD rotates clockwise. According to Fleming's right-hand rule, electric current is produced in the branches AB and CD in the direction A to B and C to D. Thus, the current flows in the direction A to B to C to D. In the external circuit, the current flows from B2 to B1 through the galvanometer. If instead of one loop coil, a coil consisting of several turns is used, the current of the magnitude several times flows. After half rotation, the branch AB takes the place of branch CD and the branch CD takes the position of the branch AB. Therefore, the current induced goes as D to C to B to A. But the branch BA is always in contact with the brush B1 and the branch DC is in the contact with B2. Hence, in the external circuit, current flows from B1 to B2, that is opposite to the previous half rotation. This repeats after every half rotation and alternating current is produced. This is what we called an AC generator. What will be required to make a DC generator? The DC does not change the direction in the external circuit. To achieve this, a split ring is fixed on the axle like a split ring used in electric motor. But there is only one split ring in DC generator. Because of this arrangement, the branch of the coil going upwards is always in contact with one brush and the branch going downwards is always in contact with the other brush. Hence, the current flows in one direction in the external circuit. This is why this generator is called as a DC generator. So we complete our chapter, Effects of Electric Current. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on Instagram at mor.tutorials.